Welcome to 906 Quilting. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Sew Steady's newest template set. And there are two templates in this set. They are Edge to Edge Connector 1 and Edge to Edge Connector 2. Now what I like to do is on the connector templates, I do have stable tape on both sides. We will be flipping these and we will be taking them in different directions. And it just gives us this whole template set. It gives us a plethora of different opportunities to connect motifs together to make a true edge by edge design on our domestic machines. We can take and do it ourselves. This is what quilters have wanted, to be able to bypass the long arm machine if they don't have room for one, like me. I definitely don't. So that is going to be one of the sets we're going to use today. The other thing I want to show you today, and we are going to use, are these little rotation bobs. And basically what they are is they are very similar to a crosshair ruler, but being able to be used in a very small space. The package comes with little rotation bobs with two bobs in them. One has 12 rotations, one has 16 rotations. So we could use this as 6, 12, we could even go up to 24 with this one. And the 16 rotations, of course, we could use as 8 rotations. Now, what I want to show you is I've already started this particular project. And what I did was I found my center spot. And with my center spot, I did quite a large Spinifex motif. And then what I've done off of the center is I came out using the edge-to-edge connectors and added different motifs as I went along. Some were larger, some were smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to use those to come off and fill in this area of my quilt. Okay? So when we take these, what we can do is, of course, we can draw this all out if we so desire, or we could just go for it. I'm a kind of go for it person, but I kind of also want to have an idea as to where I'm going to put my motifs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take one of my friction pens and I'm going to just draw a little area here. This is about where I want my next motif to come. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw 6 reference lines. I'm not going to do an 8 point. I'm just going to do a 6 point. Okay? And I am going to take my ruler and I am going to extend it. Actually, I've just used what I've got close. I just happen to have a template here, so we'll use that. And we're just going to go ahead and attach these. Now, I do this because I do like to have that long area to line up my templates. I know some people don't need that, and for you guys who don't, I think that's great. It really is. I don't trust myself enough to make sure that I'm stable. I know that's kind of a weird way to put it, but you know, what can I say? So what I want to do here is I want to take my connector template and I want to come out and I want to attach it to a motif that I'm going to put here. And I'm going to use my 3.5 inch Spinifex 8. Now, somebody's going to say, well, how did you choose that? You know what I did? I just went in to my stash of rulers and pulled. I didn't have any rhyme or reason to which ones I pulled other than I knew I wanted hearts, okay? So what I'm going to do is I want my line to connect coming out of this big center motif, and it's going to end up in here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and put my template on, and where I want to end up is basically right here. And the reason I'm saying that is because that's how I am going to go ahead and connect those two motifs. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I can turn the light on. Let me make sure that everything is focused. Let's make sure you can see it well. There we go. Put my foot down, my needle down, and I don't have a machine with a needle up, needle down function. If you have one, I really strongly suggest using it. It is very helpful. Okay, this is just my little Singer 301 that I'm using today. Vintage machine with no frills on it, and it's good. I like it. It does a great job for this type of quilting. Now with our Spinifex, what's really nice about them is that we have enough stitching on that center that we don't have to bury those threads. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to take this off and clip it and get rid of it. But what I want you to notice is that while I was doing that, I never moved that template. And we don't want to do that because it will make a mess and we have to pick it out and start over. And I don't like doing that personally. I don't know about you guys. Now, one of the other things that I found is I like to go with a little smaller needle when I'm making smaller motifs. It helps me to make a smaller stitch, and it helps me to make them look real nice. If you don't find that it's helpful for you, no problem. Use the one that you feel is the best suited to you, okay? So here we go. Just going to make some more rotations here. And again, I do like making the smaller stitches when I'm using a smaller template. Now, the big thing is I'm going to be using different sizes of templates in this project. So do I want to switch back and forth from big stitches to small stitches? Actually, I do not. So once I pick a stitch length that I feel is going to work well for any particular motif I put in, I will more than likely stick with it. Okay, we've got two more to put in here because I did do only a 6-point rotation. I'm being very careful to ensure that my quilt sandwich does not get caught on my extension table. And to do that, I like to puddle it up around me a little bit. Okay, and come back, and now I'm going to put the last rotation in, and I am going to end up at where I want my connector to connect from the first motif to this motif, and that's going to be right on the outside edge. And I think my foot just lifted. It did. That's the only complaint I've ever had about this machine, is it does sometimes vibrate the foot loose. So I'm going to come right here and stop. Okay, take that off, and here you see I've got my beautiful little 6-point rotation. We're going to go ahead and pull that in for you so you can see just a little bit better. And now I want to go ahead and come from behind. Oops, wrong way, Corrigan. Okay, I'm going to come from behind over to here. So I'm going to start looking at my connectors, and I'm going to start to get an idea of where I want this connector to come from and move to. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it come out in this direction, And you'll see I'm talking from here to here, and then we're going to make a loop and come back in here. So I need to do that backwards, right? So here we go. I'm going to just come on up. Now I do want it to be just a little longer than the template shows. That's no worry. We can just move that template up. Look at that. And you know what's going to happen? You're never going to be able to discern where that template was elongated there. So now I'm going to come and I'm going to flip it over. And I'm going to, no, I think I still want to go in this direction, okay? That's not going to give me a real big loop here, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. And now I need to elongate that just a little bit here, so I'm going to go ahead and move that template in, and here I go. So now I have connected these two motifs. And I'm going to go ahead and pull out so you can really get a good shot at that. So I've come from the center, made a small loop, and over here. Now, my biggest question is, where am I going next? Well, you know, that's entirely up to you. It is a personal decision. I think what I'm going to do is come back up on this line a little bit and then go out in another direction. So how am I going to do that? Well, quite easily, actually. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take this template. I am going to put it back on, find my spacing gauge here, find my 1/4 inch, which is going to be perfect right here. I'm going to come up to almost to that seam line here. And you'll see how easy it is to travel right along that. Okay, now this is it. This is where I want to take off in another direction. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my other template, and we're going to come out and around. What's really nice is these templates show you the shape that they stitch right here. So here is this, you turn this around. Here's the shape for B, here's the shape for C, and here's the shape for A. And it's like that on both of these templates. So I think I'm going to come just around this way. And this is why I do like to have my template, or my staple tape, on both sides. I need to make a little move of my fabric here. Now I can go back in, or I can just keep working this side of this template until I get that curve that I'm looking for. And that's right where I want to be. How do I know that? Because for me, it looks like the spot that I think it would be pretty. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to take a 1-inch heart, very small heart here, and I am going to put it on, and I think I'm going to connect this heart right at the top of, I'm going to connect the line right at the top of the heart. So it's going to go in here. And if you want, you can draw a straight line here. But I know you don't need to, because you guys are so good at this. And again, smaller stitches. And I'm going to stop right at the bottom, take my heart off, turn it over, line it back up with my spacing gauge. There it is. It's going to be right there. I think I'm having a hard time seeing it. So what I may do is just turn it a little bit so I can see it much better. There we go. And this is where we want it to be. Right there. Awesome. Okay, take that one stitch in place, which you know I do because I otherwise get toe catchers. Okay, I'm going to come here. Now, if I want my connector to come out in any particular direction, say from the bottom or from the center of the heart, this is where I would make that decision. I want it to come from the top and down and around in this direction, just like this. So that is what I am going to do. I'm going to stop at the top, move that to the side. I'm going to get, this is the template that I want, and this is the C, number C on the connector 1, and you'll see it's nice and it's got a beautiful, beautiful arc to it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch that. If it comes over the heart a little bit, I'm okay with that. Now, if I want to keep going, what I can do is I can go ahead and twist this template and keep stitching. And the place where you move the template, no one will ever be the wiser. Okay? I'm going to put a star here next. And I'm going to come out from the top of the star, and I want to come all the way around and to the top of the star again. And then I'm going to come off in this direction. So what you see is I'm really not doing a whole lot of pre-planning. However, if you are a planner, by all means, grab your sketchbook and your stitching line discs and your pencil and eraser, because I know if you're like me, you're going to change your mind at least once, and go ahead and start drawing. We all know that drawing only leads to better quilting, so don't ever be afraid of it, and don't ever apologize for it. Now, I don't want this line to come out of this top. I want it to come out of this particular star point. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to travel back. You see, I was very careful not to move that template because I knew in my mind that's what I was going to do. So now let's take a look. We've got a space here that we can use up. And I think a good way to use it is with our stop, flip, and rotate. And this is on the connector number 2, and it is our A. It is A. So I'm going to start at the bottom and come up here to the hook. Down we're going to go. Going to go all the way around the hook. Now, the hook is what's going to determine how big the little circle is going to be in there. If you keep it going basically in an opposite direction like this, your circle's going to be larger. If you keep it going in this direction, it's going to be a very small circle. So I like to make that little loop in there to be quite sizable. And now what you can do if you really want to get back up here is you can go ahead and move this and have another section of the connector to make that loop up. But instead, I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to put, I think I'm going to put a couple curly cues, just for grins and giggles. Okay, and I'm going to put them up in this direction. All right, so I'm going to take this larger one, and this is, let me see what size this is. This is a 4.5 inch. And we're going to take it up like this. I love curly cues. Curly cues can be used in so many different ways, and they just really make everything look awesome. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to go all the way down. Well, I'm going to go a little more down. Okay, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a smaller one, and we're going to just have it going in a little different direction, but it's going to actually be coming off of the first one. And we're going to come back and come down, and my foot just cut loose, guys. You see how the stitches are skipping if your foot is too high. Happens to us too. Okay, so this one was a 2.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and put the bigger one back in. Use my spacing gauge. Come here. There we go. I want to make sure I've got everything lined up, which I do. And we're just going to come and finish off that first curly cue. And what I may do, I think I will do, is I'm just going to do the same thing, only in the opposite direction. So here we go with that curly cue. We're going to come up and around. And remember, we're not going to come all the way back. We're going to stop a little bit above where the curly cue is going to meet our connector line. I think right about there looks good. I'm going to take my smaller curly cue and just have it come out from this little guy. And up we go. Make that curly cue nice and smooth. The way to make curly cues nice and smooth is to take very small stitches. Our machines only stitch in a straight line. So if we want a line to be curved, we have to take very small stitches to give the illusion of a curve. Okay, oh gosh, look at how close I am on that. That's impressive even for me. Okay, there we go. And we're going to come back down. Now we decide what direction we want our connector to go in. And I think I like the idea of it continuing off in a nice, soft arc towards the outside of my quilt. And there, I'm going to go ahead and go off in two directions here. I'm going to go off like this. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to take a really small star. I'm going to start it and stop it at the top. So here we go. And we're going to use up that top star point. Take your time going around these stars, and you will do great with them. Okay, now I have two alternatives. I can come back down here and go off in another direction, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So here we go. This is the one that we used to come out at. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to travel. And you see how easy it is to travel on these? It really is. And we can stop right here. And now we can go ahead in any direction we want to. So I hope that helps a little bit with our connecting, our edge-to-edge connectors. What you'll see is you can go from edge to edge anywhere you want on your project. It's going to be gorgeous. Take your time. Draw it out first if you're not sure. Just go ahead, pull some of your favorite templates out. Let's see if you can get a good look at this here. And just have fun. So before I go, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. Your numbers mean a lot to me. And until we meet again, let's quilt.